Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. US-China tensions resurface, putting a wrench to recent risk on sentiment. http ntvforex.com News ID 47E7C8 7/22/2020 10:23:53 AM. Notes. Observations. Geopolitical tensions simmer after China stated the U.S. ordered it to close its consulate in Houston, citing issues over intellectual property. Asia. Japan July preliminary PMI manufacturing 42.6 v 40.1 prior 15th straight contraction. Australia June preliminary retail sales 2.4% v 16.3% prior YY 8.2% v 5.3%. Coronavirus. Total global cases 14,906,602 1.7% DD. Total deaths 615.8 K 1.0% DD. Tokyo Coronavirus Monitoring Panel showed that outbreak was continuing to spread. Infections rising faster among middle-aged and older people. Note Tokyo reports 238 additional coronavirus cases v 237 prior. Europe. UK government said to be close to abandoning a post-Brexit trade deal with EU. Government assumption was UK will trade with EU on WTO terms after transition period ended on December 31, though a basic deal still remained possible if the EU gave ground. UK press. UK said to also abandon hope of US trade deal by end of year. FT. Americas. President Trump stated that coronavirus outbreak would probably get worse before it got better. Outbreak seemed to be largely in the Sun Belt, but it could spread. Note U.S. daily death toll rose above 1,000. President Trump signed executive order limiting the redistricting of voter districts. Redistricting restrictions might limit the voting power of certain states which had a larger population of immigrants who are unlawfully residing in the U.S. While House Economic Advisor Kudlow thinks stimulus bill can be done by end July. Sen. McConnell did not expect that stimulus bill to be completed by end of July. TSE Secretary Nukin lots of progress being made, want to finish the stimulus bill by end of this month. U.S. Republicans consider offering 70% wage replacement for unemployment insurance in stimulus talks. Press. House Speaker Pelosi Democrats want to see a Republican bill and then they LOL negotiate $1T price tag on GOP aid bill. $1T be sufficient to do what's needed for economy in America's health. Energy. Weekly API crude oil inventories 7.5 MV 8.3 M prior. Speakers fixed income FX commodities erratum. Equities. Indices STOXX 6001 1.01% at 372.90, FTSE 0.90% at 6,213.35, DAX 0.53% at 13,101.90, CAC 41.18% at 5,044.19, IBEX 35 1.29% at 7,398.00, FTSE MIB 0.69% at 20,580.50, SME 0.49% at 10,393.09, SAMP P 500 futures 0.53%. Market focal points. Key themes. European indices open modestly lower and descended further in the red as the session wore on. Reports of UK close to abandoning Brexit deal blamed for drop in risk appetite. Sectors leading gains include materials and technology. Underperforming sectors lead by consumer discretionary and energy. ABB initiates previously announced share buyback program. Earnings expected in the upcoming US session include Microsoft and Tesla. Equities. Energy Norsk Hydro NHY.NO 2% earnings. Healthcare Bavarian Nordic Bava.DK 8% agreement on vaccine. Industrials ABB and .ch 3% earnings commences share buyback. Kingfisher KGF.UK 10% trading update. Valio FR.FR 3% earnings. Antofagasta Anto.UK 1% production report. Utilities Iberdrola IBE.ES 1.5% earnings. Speakers. Japan Cabinet Office Government Monthly Economic Report for July raised its overall economic assessment and now saw the domestic economy as showing signs of picking up, but it remained in severe situation. Second straight upgrade. Note the prior June assessment was domestic economy had almost stopped deteriorating but remained in an extremely severe situation. Australia government saw Victoria state coronavirus lockdown possibly subtracting 0.75% off of Q3 GDP. China Global Times editor-in-chief Hu Zijin, the U.S. asked China to close Consulate General in Houston in 72 hours. China labeled such actions as provocation. Urged U.S. to correct wrong decisions or there will be retaliations. China Lbok said to pause further monetary policy easing. U.S. State Department confirmed that China to close its Houston consulate, citing the move over intellectual property issues. A 7.8 earthquake reported 84 km SSE of Perryville, off the southern coast of Alaska Peninsula. Tsunami warnings initially issued then cancelled. Currencies. Fixed income. The session saw a turn in sentiment from risk on to risk off as geopolitical tensions between U.S.-China percolated. EUR/USD holding above the 1.15 level and seemed poised to enter a new trading range, but some safe haven flows was trying to derail such momentum. GBP/USD lower in the session on concerns over the Brexit negotiations. Reports circulated overnight that UK government was close to abandoning a post-Brexit trade deal with EU and then trade under WTO terms after transition period ended. Pair lower by 0.6% at 1.2645 area by mid-session. Economic data. NL Netherlands May consumer spending YY 12.8% v 17.3% prior. NL Netherlands July consumer confidence index 26 v 27 prior. My Malaysia mid-July foreign reserves $104.0 billion v $103.4 billion prior. TW Taiwan June unemployment rate 4.0% v 4.2% e. PL Poland July consumer confidence 13.4 v 19.4 prior. Is Iceland June wage index 0.2% v 0.3% prior YY 6.7% v 6.4% prior. Fixed income issuance. In India sold total INR 350B versus INR 350B indicated in 3-month, 6-month and 12-month bills. UK DMO sold 3.0B in 0.125% January 2028 gilts average yield 0.045% v 0.104% prior bid to cover 2.15x v 1.84x prior tail 0.3 bps v 0.6 bps prior. Looking ahead. 0530 to Germany to sell 1.5B in 1.25% August 2048 bunds. 0530 PT Portugal Debt Agency IGCP to sell 1.01.25B in 2026 and 2030 OT bonds. 0530 WHO Hungary Debt Agency AKK to sell 12-month bills. 0530 ZA South Africa announces details of next bond auction held on Tuesdays. 0600 IE Ireland June PPIMM no ESTV 1.0% prior YY no ESTV 7.4% prior. 0600 RU Russia to sell OFZ bonds. 0600 CZ Czech Republic to sell 2030 and 2040 bonds. 0630 UK DMO to sell 500M in 1.25% November 2032 inflation-linked gilt UKTI. 0700 US MBA mortgage applications WE July 15 no ESTV 5.1% prior. 0700 MX Mexico May retail sales 3.4% EV 22.4% prior YY 20.0% EV 23.8% prior. 0700 ZA South Africa May retail sales 27.6% EV 2.3% prior YY 25.5% EV 2.7% prior. 0700 UK weekly PM question time in house. 0800 PL Poland June M3 money supply 2.4% EV 2.7% prior YY 17.3% EV 16.0% prior. 0800 UK Daily Baltic Dry Bulk Index 0830 CA Canada June CPI 0.4% EV 0.3% prior YY 0.2% EV 0.4% prior Consumer Price Index 136.6 EV 136.1 prior CPI Core Median YY 1.8% EV 1.9% prior CPI Core Common YY 1.3% EV 1.4% prior CPI Core Trim YY 1.6% EV 1.7% prior. 0900 US May FHFA House Price Index 0.3% EV 0.2% prior. 1000 US June Existing Home Sales 4.75 MV 3.91 M prior. 1030 US Weekly Dough Oil Inventories 1100 ESECBS de Guindos Spain on panel at Annual US-EU Symposium in New York 1200 CA Canada to sell 2-year bonds 1300 US Treasury to sell 20-year bonds reopening 1500 AR Argentina Economic Activity Index Monthly GDP No ESTV 17.5% prior YY No ESTV 26.45 prior. CO Colombia June Retail Confidence No ESTV 9.2 prior, Industrial Confidence No ESTV 21.3 prior No set time. 1900 KR South Korea Q2 Preliminary GDP QQ 2.4% EV 1.3% prior YY 2.0% EV 1.4% prior. 2100 CN China June Swift Global Payments CNY No ESTV 1.8% prior. 2130 Australia Q2 NAB Business Confidence No ESTV 11 prior. 2205 NZ New Zealand to sell 2023, 2029, and 2033 bonds. 2300 CN China to sell 10-year upsized special government bond. 2330 TH Thailand June Customs Trade Balance $2.9 BV $2.7 billion prior Customs Exports YY 15.0% EV 22.5% prior Customs Imports YY 17.0% EV 34.4% prior. 2330 JP Japan to sell 12-month bills. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching.